Hi again. This is Ananda Brutvan, the media contact for the Smith Center for the Arts, and I'm here today speaking with Savannah Gomez, a member of the National Players Theater Company. They'll be coming to Geneva in just a few weeks to offer two theatrical performances at the Smith Opera House on Monday, May 9th. Hi, Savannah. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks so much for talking with me.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here speaking with me this morning. So you're a member of the National Players. It's a theater group, and I know that as a group, it has a really long-standing legacy. I was hoping maybe you could tell me a little bit about the history of the National Players as a group.
Yeah, for sure. The National Players is a partnered company with the Olney Theater Center. It has been running for 72 years consecutively,
Wow.
except for 1 year during the pandemic, when nothing was running.
Yeah, it
Um,
seems to be really getting into people's legacies like that, doesn't it?
yeah, but the players, we are currently on our 72nd tour, and the mission of our group is just to bring theater to communities that would otherwise not have it or don't have super easy access to live theater. We hope to kind of come in, show them theater can be accessible and that anybody can do it. Um, with this tour, our group is the first predominantly Black company that the National Players have ever had. So there's like an extra component in terms of visibility and representation for us this year.
Wow, that sounds like quite a legacy to uphold.
Mm-hmm.
It must be really exciting to be a part of that group, and I love the kind of mission of bringing it to other communities.
Mm-hmm.
What initially drew you into the National Players? How long have you been a member?
This is my first year with the National Players. But this is not my first time working with Olney. I started working at Olney as a part of their apprenticeship program. In their 2019-2020 class, I was a costuming apprentice. And while I was there, I learned about the National Players Company. Throughout college, I was studying performance, and just doing costuming kind of like on the side, but my focus had always been acting. So when I found out that the company that I was already working for had an opportunity for me to both do costumes and perform, it just kind of felt perfect.
Kind of just coalesced for you.
It absolutely did.
That's so great. Costuming is so much fun too. It's so fun to go from, back of house technical to like being in the limelight. That must have been quite
Yeah.
a transition.
Yeah, absolutely. The first time I started doing costumes with any type of seriousness was my sophomore year of college, so like 2017. Um, and it wasn't until probably the summer before my senior year of college that I realized, oh, this is something I could actually make a career out of. I like this just as much as I like performing.
Isn't that the best feeling of like, oh, the
It,
thing that I like can actually make me money?
yeah, it's great.
It's not often that you get to have such a feeling, and when you do, it's such a spark of joy. Um,
Yeah, it's rare. I feel pretty lucky.
yeah, certainly. It's your first year, so it's going to be your first time. I know it's a traveling group, right?
Hmm.
Because of the emphasis on bringing it to other communities. It's not like you
Hmm.
stick in the only theater, you move from theater to theater. Have you
Hmm.
done many yet, or does the tour start soon?
We have done a lot of performances away from Olney. We started traveling like away from the East Coast in January of this year. And we started performances not at Olney this past October.
Wow. So you guys got it down at this point.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
yeah, certainly. What's your favorite part about traveling theater versus doing it in one spot? Like, do you find that there's quite a different kind of feeling to the experience at all?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a different experience with like a stationary theater. They have their audience established. You pretty much know who's going to be there, who they're going to bring, what their experiences are going to be, and you kind of tailor the shows to that audience, in order for the like theater to remain successful. With a touring company, you get to look at the demographics of a wide variety of people. I would say no two venues we've been at have been the same, I would say.
Yeah, it seems like it just gives you the opportunity to kind of have almost like a different dynamic with the audience every time because you're
Mhm.
constantly having different audiences. And also just it must be fun to just see different parts of the country.
Yeah, it is. I'm originally from Michigan and I moved to Maryland in 2019 for
Mm-hmm.
my apprenticeship. And outside of that, I haven't really seen much of the country. Um, so
Yeah,
this tour has been an opportunity for me to travel a little bit more, which is one of the reasons I was so drawn to this opportunity.
absolutely. What's been your favorite travel destination on your trip so far?
Um, Yankton, South Dakota was really beautiful. It's
Huh.
right near the Black Hills.
Curveball
Um,
answer.
yeah,
Wow, yeah, that must be so lovely. It must also be nice to travel after, a couple years of pandemic times where it wasn't really so much of an option. Kind of
yeah,
having that
absolutely.
freedom again must
Oh,
be nice.
I misspoke. Spearfish, South Dakota is by the Black Hills.
I see.
That's the one that I liked. Yankton
That's
was
the
great
one.
too, for different reasons.
Of course, yeah. South Dakota, I've heard it's just so beautiful.
It is
Um,
very pretty.
yeah, I've never been personally.
Mhm.
Um, so you are doing two plays this tour.
Mhm.
That's
Yes,
correct. And
that is
you
correct.
always bring those two plays kind of as a pair when you travel.
Um, Not necessarily. It really depends more so on the venue and which performances they pick um,
I see.
to have us present. Some places do like for us to present them like as a package,
Mm-hmm.
but other places like they'll be studying like a Shakespeare unit or they're studying like classic American literature. So we'll bring either Raisin or Midsummer.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I know that the two you're putting on this year, I was just gonna say, are Raisin in the Sun and Midsummer, which are two, all-time classics. Can't beat
Mm-hmm.
those. What kind of drove the group to pick those two this year? How are they? Is there like a connecting theme that you were trying to focus on when you picked those two?
So the Players as a company, it was established as a Shakespearean theater troupe. They always perform a Shakespeare piece, so that is something that has remained in the 72-year history of the group. Um, and then in junction with that, they also like to perform an American classic, um, just for the educational component of
Right.
our company. Um, the way these two were chosen, these plays were brought up in, I want to say 2018, 2019, um, in terms of uh, the makeup of what Tour 72 is going to be. So our producers,
Mm-hmm.
they look at what schools are reading in their curriculum and what the need is, like what kinds of shows people need to see. And also with A Raisin in the Sun being a much more serious, much more emotionally draining kind of piece, the Shakespeare that they chose in junction with that is a lighthearted comedy, so that we're not just like sad all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're an interesting kind of combination from like incredibly based in like realistic struggles that families have with raising in the sun and then just like completely whimsical
Yeah,
fairyland
yeah,
of
fairies and magic.
yeah, exactly. It seems like it must be emotionally interesting to go from performing in Raisin in the Sun to going to performing in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Do you feel like there are any connections between the characters that you play? What are your roles in the two?
Yeah, in A Midsummer Night's Dream, I play Hippolyta, the Amazonian queen, and Titania, the queen of the fairies. And then in A Raisin of the Sun, I play Mama Lena. So I would say there are some similarities between my three characters. I think they are all three women who have a responsibility to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Certainly.
with that comes kind of like a maternal, kind of like a matronly aspect for the rulers, and then Lena is literally a mother.
Right. Yeah, I could see how there'd be connections between those characters. It's fun that you get to play the queens.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Queen of the Fairies, gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you'll go on for another year, or is this your last hurrah?
I think I don't ever really like to speak in absolutes, but for now, I think this might be my one and done with the players. I wouldn't say I'm completely done with touring itself, but I think with the national players, I've gotten what I've needed to out of this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't see myself needing to do it again. But
Right.
you never know what might happen.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you never know about it at all. But it does sound like it's been a good experience overall. Do you feel
Mm-hmm.
like you've had are there just like fun dynamics touring with the group together? It must be kind of um, like almost like a family in a way if you're touring all together all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got really lucky with our company this year. We all mesh really well and we all like each other, which is something that I think a lot of people can take for granted when
Oh,
you're touring like for work, that oftentimes you may not like the people that you're working with and you may not get along with them, but you just got to kind of swallow it down so that you can get the work done. We don't really have that problem. We all like each other. We all hang out outside of work. Um, and some of us, those of us who live in the DMV or will remain, are probably gonna continue hanging out once the tour is over. We have a group chat that's probably gonna stay active.
aw, that's so lovely. Well, it sounds like you're coming away from this experience with some good friendships in addition to some good work experience.
Absolutely.
Well, I am so happy for you, and I'm so excited to have you join us at the Smith. I know that this production for the Smith was able to be produced due to generous support from the Nelson B. Delavin Foundation and the Lions National Bank, and that we will have two showings. I think one is on the evening of May 9th, and the other is in the morning. Is that true?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah. So for listeners out there, if you're interested, there'll be two showings. I think the midsummer showing is more family oriented, whereas the Raisin in the Sun is more for theater lovers who want to watch a classic. And if our listeners are interested, they can get more information about our events at thesmith.org or call or visit our box office by phone or in person, 10 a.m. through 4 p.m. Tuesday through Friday. The number is 315-781-5483, or again, thesmith.org for more information. So thank you so much for joining me, Savannah. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, it was great to speak with you, and we'll see you in May.
We'll see you then.